Recently, reports from mainland China reveal that the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, has taken drastic measures against Taiwan's iPhone manufacturer Foxconn. Authorities have reportedly blocked Foxconn from sending Chinese workers to its factories in India and have detained iPhone production equipment meant for shipment to India. On January 10th, the U.S. tech media outlet Rest of World cited 5 sources familiar with Foxconn's operations. They reported that Foxconn has suspended sending Chinese workers to its Indian plants and is now dispatching workers from Taiwan instead. One source stated that the CCP's interference is the main reason for the halt in worker deployments and equipment exports. Another insider added that, currently, neither workers nor equipment can be sent to India, which lacks the technical capability to produce the specialized equipment locally. Neither Apple nor Foxconn has commented on the situation, and both the CCP and Indian government authorities have remained silent. This incident highlights the challenges multinational companies face when attempting to shift production out of China. Foxconn's operations in India currently rely heavily on Chinese workers, some Taiwanese employees, and specialized equipment from China. In recent weeks, Chinese workers who were scheduled to go to India were informed that their trips were cancelled. Some had already obtained visas and tickets, but were still barred from leaving. Chinese workers already stationed in India have reportedly received verbal instructions to return to China without a set timeline for redeployment. This unexpected development may disrupt Foxconn's factories in Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, potentially delaying production of the next-generation iPhones. To minimize the impact, Foxconn is considering replacing Chinese workers with Taiwanese personnel. Insiders revealed that the company is also ramping up production and exporting semi-finished iPhone components from its factories in mainland China to ensure Indian assembly lines can maintain output. In recent years, ongoing U.S.-China geopolitical tensions and strict COVID-19 policies in China have severely impacted global supply chains. Many multinational companies, including Foxconn, have started moving parts of their operations to countries like India and Vietnam. Since early 2024, the CCP has reportedly imposed restrictions to prevent foreign companies from leaving China, initially targeting smaller Japanese firms. At the end of December 2024, a shocking incident emerged from China. A Japanese business owner claimed to have been detained for 3 months while trying to withdraw his operations from China. After the ordeal, the businessman shared his experience, saying, "I can finally return to my home country. For 107 days, I fought with judges from the People's Court in Suzhou. I must thank the Japanese Consulate General in Shanghai, the F Consul, and the Foreign Ministry. They worked tirelessly to help me return to Japan, contacting the court, the Foreign Affairs Office, and other relevant departments." After this ordeal, the businessman declared that he would rather face bankruptcy than continue operating in China. On June 24, 2024, outside the Japanese school in Suzhou, a Japanese woman and a young boy were attacked and injured by a Chinese man. A local guide for the school bus, Hu Youping, was fatally stabbed while trying to stop the attacker. Later, on September 18, 2024, a shocking incident in Shenzhen occurred where a 10-year-old Japanese boy was attacked and killed. These 2 consecutive violent events have raised suspicions about their motives. Many observers believed that beyond the long-standing anti-Japanese propaganda promoted by the CCP, these incidents could have been premeditated acts of retaliation against Japan's Panasonic Group for planning to withdraw from the Chinese market, as well as a deliberate attempt to intimidate other Japanese businesses operating in China. In response, Japanese companies in China quickly began accelerating their exodus. On September 20th, Panasonic became the first major company to announce that employees stationed in China, along with their families, could temporarily return to Japan. The company promised to cover all costs for those choosing to leave. Other Japanese firms soon followed suit, offering to purchase tickets for employees and their families to return home. On January 9, 2025, the Suzhou case involving the attack on the Japanese mother and son was brought to trial. Notably, the name of the suspect was not disclosed. Japanese businesses have come to fully grasp the challenges of leaving China, facing significant obstacles and paying a high price due to various retaliatory measures by the CCP. In the financial sector, withdrawing money from China has proven equally difficult for global investment institutions. At the Hong Kong Monetary Authority's International Financial Leaders Investment Summit on November 19, 2024, David Solomon, chairman and CEO of Goldman Sachs, stated that it is now extremely hard to transfer funds out of China, and global investors are reluctant to invest there. He said, "When I listen to global investors, one of the things they continue to be concerned about is they put a lot of capital in, and it's been very difficult over the course of the last 5 years to get capital out." Solomon emphasized that attracting and enabling the smooth flow of capital is vital for global investors, but China's current issues have made them hesitant to invest. Jeffrey Perlman, CEO of Warburg Pincus, echoed similar sentiments at the AVCJ, Private Equity and Venture Forum in Hong Kong. He noted that after the firm exited its investments last year, they faced significant challenges withdrawing $1 billion from China. Chinese internet users have remarked that not only are citizens facing restrictions on cash withdrawals and bank transfers, but even major players like Goldman Sachs are unable to move their money out. If foreign financial institutions struggle this much to transfer cash, it's no surprise that moving production equipment or deploying Chinese employees abroad would face even more severe restrictions and obstructions from the CCP. Despite the challenges, a new study by Bain & Company, a U.S. global strategy consulting firm, shows that the momentum of top global companies moving production and operations out of China continue to accelerate throughout 2024. Where are these companies relocating? The study found that the top 5 destinations are the Indian subcontinent, the U.S. and Canada, Southeast Asia, Western Europe, and Latin America. Of these, 39% of companies chose the Indian subcontinent, 16% relocated to the US and Canada, and 11% to Southeast Asia. In August 2024, the Indian financial website Money Control reported that Foxconn was establishing another iPhone assembly plant in Karnataka, its second-largest factory in the state. Foxconn also purchased 300 acres of land in Bangalore's Information Technology Investment Region, ITIR, investing 220 billion rupees, approximately $2.5 billion, and creating over 50,000 local jobs. As tech companies shift production out of China, Foxconn, a major Apple supplier, is also expanding its operations in India. However, this requires approvals from India's Ministry of Commerce and Industry, among other agencies, as well as ensuring reliable water and power supplies. Karnataka's chief minister stated, "We will ensure all necessary cooperation and support for the company." Apple is also rapidly increasing production in India, taking advantage of local subsidies, skilled labor, and advancements in India's technological capabilities. India has become a crucial part of Apple's strategy to reduce reliance on Chinese manufacturing. In recent years, as U.S.-China relations worsened, with trade and tech wars escalating, the risks of producing in China have grown for many American companies. 3 Apple suppliers, Taiwan's Foxconn and Pegatron, along with India's Tata Electronics, are assembling iPhones in southern India. Foxconn's factory near Chennai is the country's largest iPhone supplier, accounting for half of India's iPhone exports. On October 29, 2024, Bloomberg reported that Apple exported nearly $6 billion worth of India-made iPhones, a year-over-year increase of 1/3. This suggests that India's total iPhone exports for fiscal 2024 could surpass $10 billion. Clearly, India has emerged as the biggest beneficiary of this wave of foreign companies leaving China, positioning itself as the strongest competitor to replace China as the world's factory. The CCP's efforts to interfere with Foxconn's relocation to India go far beyond retaliation against India. They also appear to include extortion attempts against Foxconn. Additionally, with the CCP feeling increasingly insecure about its grip on power, it has effectively taken Chinese citizens hostage. The government not only blocks Chinese workers from being sent abroad, but is also recalling those already stationed overseas. China has recently been plagued by frequent social crises, leaving its citizens deeply disillusioned with the CCP. To curb the growing waves of emigration, the authorities began tightening the issuance of passports in multiple cities last year. If Foxconn's Chinese workers were sent to India and settled there, they might compare the living environment in India with China and decide not to return. Over time, their families in China might also choose to leave. This is something the CCP, which relies heavily on human resources and workforce, is determined to prevent. Recently, many overseas Chinese students and expatriates returning to China have been deliberately isolated and alienated by the authorities, creating distrust among the local population. This reflects the regime's fear, not only of citizens escaping through emigration or illegal routes, but also of returnees spreading the truths they've witnessed abroad. For the CCP, an awakened populace is the last thing it wants. In August 2024, after Foxconn announced a major investment in Henan, victims of the Henan Village Bank scandal warned Foxconn to proceed with caution, fearing its investments could result in massive losses. However, these warnings were met with threats and intimidation from the police. One victim called Foxconn, saying, "We advise you to be cautious when cooperating with the Henan provincial government. The legal savings of over 400,000 depositors, amounting to over 40 billion yuan, have been withheld without return. Every time we go to Henan, we are tracked and monitored. They won't let us withdraw our money, nor will they let us take legal action. We hope your group won't suffer the same losses we have." In recent years, Foxconn has gradually relocated most of its factories and operations out of China. However, in July 2024, it announced a partial return. Liu Qifeng, an assistant professor at Taiwan's Sun Yat-sen University and a former resident of India, explained that Apple had announced plans to produce the iPhone 16 in India, but Foxconn's manufacturing yields in India fell short of expectations. To mitigate risks, Foxconn redistributed some production back to China. According to Liu, Foxconn's decision to resume production at its established Zhengzhou factory allowed it to maintain product quality while comparing manufacturing yields between China and India. This competitive approach provided more flexibility in operations. However, from the CCP's perspective, China is not a place where companies can come and go as they please. The regime views Foxconn's return as a short-term strategy aimed at stabilizing production until its operations in Vietnam and India are fully matured. Foxconn, which had previously escaped the CCP's control, missed a golden opportunity to sever ties. Its decision to return reflects a misplaced confidence, and any future attempts to leave may prove far more difficult. Ignoring the warnings of Henan's victims, Foxconn now finds itself enduring the same hardships faced by ordinary Chinese citizens. The company has unwittingly become the hostage of the CCP, facing significant risks of financial losses. The CCP's obstruction of Foxconn's ability to deploy Chinese workers abroad also serves a broader purpose: to intimidate Taiwan. Deploying local employees abroad is standard practice for multinational corporations. Western companies operating in China frequently send Chinese workers overseas for training and technical support, and other foreign firms bring personnel to China without issue. This kind of international staffing is a routine part of business operations. Foxconn itself previously sent Chinese workers to India without incident. If the CCP had blocked this practice earlier, Foxconn may have had time to adapt and avoid the current chaos and losses. But the CCP abruptly changed course, implementing an unwritten policy to block Foxconn's plans and transfer equipment without legal or regulatory justification. Those familiar with the CCP's methods understand that this was a calculated move to catch Foxconn off guard, inflicting maximum damage as retribution for its earlier decision to leave. Had this been an American company, the CCP might have hesitated to act so aggressively due to the potential risks. However, with Taiwan, the CCP treats Taiwanese firms like domestic enterprises, exploiting them to advance its broader agenda. The regime has long attempted to frame Taiwanese affairs as internal matters under its jurisdiction, and the Foxconn incident is just the latest example of this. As the inauguration of U.S. President Donald Trump approaches, the CCP's actions against Taiwan have grown increasingly bold, signaling its intent to escalate pressure on the island in the upcoming months. Recently, a user on X claimed that the CCP agents in Taiwan organized tens of thousands of people to gather at Liberty Square in Taipei, leading chants demanding Vice President Lai Ching-te to step down. At the same time, several military accounts within China posted threats and provocations about war with Taiwan. The Post suggested that with only 9 days left before Donald Trump's presidential inauguration, the CCP might use this sensitive transition period to prepare for an invasion of Taiwan. According to Naval News, China is reportedly building 5 new specialized landing barges equipped with a 120-meter deployable ramp that extends from the bow, designed to bypass obstacles like minefields and directly reach coastal roads, enabling the rapid deployment of heavy armored vehicles and supplies. Emma Salisbury, a maritime researcher at the UK think tank Council on Geostrategy, commented, "Any invasion of Taiwan from the mainland would require a large number of ships to transport personnel and equipment across the strait quickly, particularly land assets like armored vehicles." These landing barges, which function as mobile docks, appear to be specially designed for such an invasion scenario. Director of Taiwan's Institute for National Defense Strategy and Resources, Su Ziyun, explained, "These specialized barges have a 120-meter ramp that extends from deep water to the shore. The stern is open, allowing other ships to dock alongside and enabling vehicles to drive onto the ramp for direct landing operations. This design could significantly enhance the CCP's landing capabilities." In recent years, China has been practicing various amphibious landing operations, including traditional beach assaults and offloading heavy armored vehicles at ports. The addition of these large barges aims to shorten the distance to the shore. However, some experts view this approach as highly risky. Military expert Chi Tong-yun explained, "This type of landing strategy could only be feasible after securing a beachhead and establishing control. These vessels move slowly, making them vulnerable targets for Taiwan's defenses and highly likely to be destroyed." Whether these developments are merely a distraction, such as a smokescreen to shift focus from the Foxconn incident, or part of an actual military buildup, one thing is clear: the CCP's actions toward Taiwan have been escalating recently.